I never speak English. I never do presentations, so I wrote some things down. I'm sorry. This is my site. Het regent bijna nooit, or it almost never rains, not NL. This is working, so yeah. I use my bicycle a lot. Mainly I go to work with it. It's 17 kilometers one way. It improves my health. It's good for the environment. It saves me money compared to using my car. And I started the site 7 years, 10 months ago. Not for me, but to convince other people to use the bike more often. I will go into the site in a minute. But for Mr. Wolf, you're not from the Netherlands, so 30 seconds, the Netherlands. These are real stamps from the Netherlands. You see some things, you recognize some things, yes? Small investigation, windmill, wooden shoe, bike. Windmill, which of you lives in or works in or within 100 meters of a windmill? Okay, so that's not completely Dutch. Nobody here knows that. Which one of you owns a wooden shoe? One or more? Yes? Okay, so small percentage. Which one of you owns a bike? Which one of you owns more than one bike? Okay, so this is typical Dutch. So I made this picture yesterday, so that's everybody recognizes this. So, okay, lots of bikes, so use them, I think. But there's one thing that people prevents doing that, and that's this, the weather. Who recognizes this? Okay. And who complains about it very often? So, that's typical Dutch also. Yes. Some people think this is the weather in the Netherlands. Some people think this. But this is quite right, this. But the Dutch have trouble with the memory. We spoke about it an hour ago. I have a term for it. It's selective negative memory, I call it. But that's my own word for it. But a lot of people know that I have this website, and in a period of several weeks, it's dry, all quiet, normal people. But when it rains, one day, they, hey, Gerard, you have the website. It almost never rains. Well, look outside. It rains. So your website is a complete joke. That's strange. That's selective negative memory, is that? Good. This slide, it actually is this. And it's not what I think. The KNMI, the Dutch weather folks, they measured this 20 years, the whole country, 24 hours a day, and this is what it is. So on any given day, any given time, you get outside, 1 hour, this is it. So, 7 years, 10 months ago, someone came to the door at work. He was a little bit wet because it was raining. Of course, he's from Holland, so he complained about the weather. And it was a wet day after some completely dry days. There was a small discussion, and most people agreed with the man. And he said, well, I think I sell my bike and I use my car more often, but I'm an experienced biker, so I told him, it almost never rains. I don't even own a rain suit, so there were lots of laughs, but the discussion was closed. And on my way home, 40 minutes on my bike, I thought, what's the way to show other people that it almost never rains? So that evening, the site was born. But it's very difficult. I know lots of people, and lots of people don't read anymore. And lots of people don't like to see complicated things. So this is a really data set from the real data set from the academy. So I give that to someone, they say, well that's not right. Well, what is it? So that's not simple. People like pictures. Well, the faces were a beautiful example. People like pictures, they were beautiful, so people like simple. Oh, this is some data you can get from one right. It's the wind. Was it foggy? What was the temperature? That's very nice, but that's not simple. So I can use that. This is simple. Yes, it rained, or no, it did not rain. So that are the two pictures I use on my site. Yes, it rains. No, it did not rain. That's where the picture comes from. That's my bike. That's a recumbent bike. Beautiful. So you recognize it. These are the four combined pictures. You can show everything. No, no. Yes, no. No, yes, yes, yes. One day, one picture. This is a simple pie chart. This is actually from yesterday. I started 1 September, so 324 rides. This is a month total. This is the total, the month total, and a few days. And on the side, it looks like this. And this. And this. So, well, you can tell from a distance, here's some rain. Right, rain, right. So, that's pretty clear. This is a year. It was the first year. All the month. In total. 7 years. 11, 6, 11, 9, 7, 10, 8, so. Conclusions? It almost never rains. But, okay, you know that already. It almost never rains on both rides on one day. It almost never rains the whole 40 minutes of a ride. Half of it, or 5 minutes. But 5 minutes, it's a yes. So that's to keep it simple. And if it rains, the only thing happens is you get wet. But that's no problem at all. So even if it rains, you can use your bike more often, because there's no problem. There were some comments on the site. Most of the people who come on the site, they say, yes, that's all right. I bike lots of times and it never rains. So that's a little bit like preaching for the choir. In het Nederlands is dat dus spreken voor eigen parochie. Die mensen komen op die site, they look at the site and they know it already. So it has no use, the site. So I try to get some data in newspapers and on TV, but that's very difficult. And then in a newspaper it's all the remarkable but true, and then a rainy day picture. No, nothing in the sun or what. It's only a rainy day. So it's very difficult to get this data out. people who see it on the site already knew it. There's a small problem. I don't know if this project is really Quantified Self, because when I started the project I already knew this, and I do this to convince other people to use the bike. I know that lots of people know het regent bijna nooit, and they use it trying to convince colleagues or friends to use the bike more often. I hope it has a positive effect, but there's really no way I can measure that. That was my story.
Questions? Gary.
So I'm curious whether it did have any effect on your point of view at all, because you did know, but then you have now you're interacting all the time with your knowledge. So does it? Yeah, did it have any?
No, I went on my bike every day to work. So if it snows, it rains, it makes no difference every day. Before I was measuring this, I also did that. So I do that. Well, I think I have to be very good in measuring because people are asking questions. So it has to fit. I have to go to work on my bike because otherwise this data. But that's no. It's good for the health. So. Yeah, does it? I don't think it had influenced my way. So. No.
More questions?
Did you ever get attention in the mainstream media with your research, like the famous weather guys on television?
No, never. No.
Do you like doing the daily topic on a radio show? I mean, here's the guy on the bike. Rain where you are.
But it's boring. It almost never rains. So what do you have to tell them? Yeah. But I like your question. That's, yeah. No, they did it. We're not colleagues, but yeah.
I'm just curious, what happened with your colleague? Did he stop cycling to work, or?
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay.
He was a real Dutchman, so he complained, but he
him.
did this. Yeah. So, no. No, but thanks for asking.